So aloha, my name is Maynette Benham. I am the Dean of Hawaii Nui Akea School of Hawaiian Knowledge at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. And every year since 2000 and, when was it, John? 10?
Yeah.
I just said since 2010, Hawaii Nui Akea every March has been awarding 4 individuals in our community who have significantly contributed to the vibrancy, the education of our lahui. A little bit later, I'll run down for you the recipients that we have received the award, and then you can see what prestigious company both Auntie Pua and Uncle Poka join. As you know, in March of this year, we did give our awards out, and we decided that we would do a very special gathering for Auntie Pua and Uncle Poka out here when it was just the right time. And this is the right time and the right place. We want to thank all of you for coming out, and especially since we had to make a little move from the Maili facility. I do want to especially thank Mona. Aloha Mona back there, Maili. And I believe, is it Brent? Who is up there, and Paula Ann, of course, from KS, who are our hosts. So mahalo to the both of you, and for getting all the sound equipment, kia'i, and down from that location to hear it. We probably are expecting a handful more people that are making their way up there and are being redirected down here. A couple of other folks that I want to thank that have put this together is the folks back in my office. And I'm very, very fortunate that both my fiscal officer, David Keola, and my secretary, Annette Lejano, live here in Nanakuli, so they were able to come here early this morning and help us set up and get everything ready. So Annette and David, mahalo for all of your work as well. So the money that we raise with our I'ulu Ike Kumu program is directly given to the Native Hawaiian Student Services Kauhale. It goes into an account that is managed by our director, Willie Kauai, Dr. Willie Kauai over here, recent graduate from the Indigenous Politics program at the UH Manoa, just joined us this past year as the director. Our previous director is now on faculty in the College of Education. But that money is used for students who have an emergency. You know, life happens sometimes and they need a little bit more money for tuition, maybe for transportation, maybe for housing, just to get through that semester or that year. And so we're very, very honored and privileged and appreciative to John and to the Consuelo Foundation for being a longtime supporter of I'ulu Ike Kumu. We do have a program for you, which we are going to get into in about 30 minutes or so, but we're going to eat first. Again, I want to mahalo John from the Consuelo and all of the people at Consuelo who helped make this happen as well. Patria, Kia'i, as well as Willie Kauai and all the people at Hawaii Nui Akea. I believe that we are going to be asking Puaena for our pule to bless our food. And then we will escort our guest of honor and family.
Lord, we just thank you for this beautiful day, Lord, for the sunshine, for a wonderful time to gather together. Help us, Lord, to be in the mindset that we can both hear and speak what needs to be spoken and heard today. Bring us all together, unify us in mind and in heart. Bless this food that you have so graciously provided. And again, this whole day. And I also pray a special blessing over Puanani and Poka, which happen to be my parents. I'm biased, but I just pray that you will bless them. Again, thank you for this day and all that you provided. In Jesus' name we pray.
Terry Langley and her husband Kanani Langley from Farm to Fork at Ma'o Organic Farms has prepared, well, she went and picked up our food, right? And she ordered everything, so mahalo again to Ma'o, to Kukui and Gary, who have been very supportive of today. So I think what we want to do is have Auntie, Uncle, you guys go up first, and then all the family to follow.
Say that, we're driving out here today, and I was thinking, every time I drive to Waianae, I go, see, 30 years ago, I was driving out to Waianae to come to the Mental Health Center board meetings, and 30 years passed so quickly, and here we are 30 years later. We still look young, we still act young, we have a young mind, but now we've acquired all this wisdom. Isn't that great? And I've worked real closely with Pua. From the time we met, we've been working together. But I also want to thank Poka for all of his incredible work. I don't think Pua could do the work that she does without great support from Poka and the rest of the Burgess clan. So, Poka's no slouch. I mean, he's an advocate for nationhood and sovereignty and all these other things. So, anyway. It's really, it's just a joy to be with you today and to acknowledge your incredible work, lifetime work here in Hawaii and around the world. Mahalo.
Well, I'm no entertainer. I think I'm in the video too, so I'm not going to say a lot. I'm going to try to beat his time slot and speak even shorter. Just want to acknowledge this wonderful couple. Maybe what I can share about is my life, because one thing I've got over most of you is time. I met Pua 34 years ago, I believe. It's been an incredible time getting to know both of these guys. I think I met Poka probably a couple years even before that. But I just want to, in short, talk about how Poka changed my life by bringing to light something that I really hadn't really thought much about before in terms of Hawaiian sovereignty, which was very little discussed in terms of the legal circles at the time. But Poka was the guy that Hayden Burgess didn't stand up for Judge King in his courtroom because he didn't recognize the United States government's legitimacy. And I thought at that time, wait a second, like we were taught all these things in law school, to respect the judge, decorum, he's got control over all the courtroom proceedings, and here's this guy, who the hell is he? But then I started thinking about it, and it's not so much this act of defiance that was so critical, but what it meant in terms of the scholarship that has now evolved around Hawaiian self-determination. And to me, Poka is the guy that was a pioneer. And at least he opened up my eyes in a real sense. I'd read about it, heard a few people talk about it, but in that one act alone, I thought I had to rethink the whole thing in terms of my own mind, my whole framework, and I really appreciate that from him. Pua is just like somebody that, I don't know where to begin. I can't even think of the first incident we met, but I've gone over some of that in the video, but I think the thing I wanted to share about her today that I really want to thank her for is giving me and John the memories that we had together on Molokai during our fishing trips. Because that's something we don't do today, and yet I really treasure those times when you fish together, you have to camp out together, talk a lot of story together, and really share some intimate moments that you don't on any other occasion. And that's the sharing that fisher people do that I think most people will not appreciate unless you go through it. But in those times, we were just young bucks just coming out and starting our careers, and we were really sharing a lot of our vision, our philosophy, and our love for each other that I think is irreplaceable. And I just want to say thank you to Pua just for that. I thank her for all kinds of other stuff in the video. So I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you very much. Mahalo, you guys.
I want to take a picture after hearing you talk. So
47 years. 47 years, that's all I have to say. See, everybody says this woman needs a medal.
All you get is a microphone. You want a chair?
Wait, I have a funny story to tell you about John Matsuoka and fishing. So on one of our trips, I managed to drop the, what is that thing called? Reel in the water, and what he did was he held me down under the water until I found it. What was more important, me drowning or the reel? The reel. But you know, he, Alan, and I were the strangest group of compadres. And Alan, we're coming. Oh. No. The round-headed one. George Osakoda. So we used to go fishing together, and it was very strange. All of us were Japanese, and yet we all worked for Hawaiian communities. And the oddness of finding Japanese people who came from here, and somehow did the relationship building, and Alan was our attorney when we were fighting the building of West Beach. And out of that whole process came things like community-based economic development, and came community development of all kinds of communities. All of that stuff came out of that time. And then it started for me directly in Waianae when I got this call from that guy back there with the white hair now, called Eric Dinos, and you know, he called me up and he said, you know, I want to invite you to a meeting. We're meeting to talk about the building of West Beach. And there'll be a few of us there. So he was there, Haunanike Trask was there, and it was Marianne Kelly was also part of it. And here are some other names of people who aren't here who are part of this story. Billy Haugi, Mike Kahikina, Angel Pilago, people that have all played a part of this us story. And so this part of it just features him and I, but there are so many people that we have to say thank you. Popo and Kunku, Mama and Daddy, they provided for us the ability to do our work because they helped care for our children in a way that was deep and meaningful and loving. And so without Popo and Kunku, a lot of what we were able to do couldn't happen. Yeah, Eric, if it wasn't for our parents who continuously supported our work when we weren't there, they were there. And so it's all those pieces that create the wholeness of what happens today. And you know, when people are going to ask you, can we celebrate you, can we honor you, your job is to say yes. Because when you say yes, then we can see a bigger picture and not just, it's not about us, it's really we. And I think that's why we said yes to this, because we knew it's going to be a time when so many of us who never have the time and never take the time to sit down and talk to each other, well, at least I'm going to see you again. So, I really like this man. I really, really do like, if I had to talk about my teachers, he's one of them. Eric is another. Patrick Uchigaki Uchi, who is a really dear friend and a great teacher, right there. And Lorraine Robinson, she taught me a way to figure out how to be with women who are coming into their own and coming out of difficult situations. But she gave me a place to practice that I love very much. And then there are my children. And it's a very and Anna is one of my children. She is married to Mauna Ala, and she is the mother of the Layla, who is an incredibly important part of who we become and who we're becoming, because we are doing this so that they have a space like the space we grew up in to become adults and to practice. And then there are my nieces right there. Paul Ann, stop hiding.
My phone's so smart, it responded me.
And Jackie. So, you know, we're surrounded by family who have been a part of who we become. Your turn.
She would travel to different places with all these men, all these handsome guys. I said, where you went? So, oh, we just went fishing. She would go to the island of Kaho'olawe and leaving me back with all these macho guys, right? In the PKO
Uncle
movement.
Harry, probably a couple of dead men, and then, I mean, Skippy Owani, all that rascal guy.
So it's been many years. I feel like an old man watching all of this, and yet I don't feel old. I've been able to see the changes that have occurred in Hawaii. I'm very proud of the school that has honored us. I remember going to the University of Hawaii in 1965, 66, 67, 68. The Hawaiian language was being taught in the foreign language department. You know? And just at that time, you had Larry Kimura and others at the East-West Center who were meeting with the folks from Aotearoa, just dreaming about creating language nests. And then the first to hit was in Aotearoa. And then Hawaii started coming about. So it's not identical, and the language or the name of the schools or the organizations were not taken from Aotearoa, but they were independently talked about at the East-West Center. The early days and now, as you see so many Hawaiian speakers, you see specialized school and coming together, you can notice the progress. And I think the progress are sort of hand in hand with many other activities, the realization that there are things in our history that people have not talked about, are not willing to bring forward. When I was sitting with Nafi Pulava, my client, who many of you do not recall, Uncle Tony probably knows him personally. Then you won't talk about your cop days and your union days. But as we sat down together in federal penitentiary in what was that? Washington State, McNeil Island. And he said, so what are you going to do about my defense? I said, I don't know what you're going to do, but if I was the defendant, this is what I would do. He said, what would you do? I said, I would challenge the jurisdiction of the United States over us in Hawaii. He said, what? I said, yeah. You know that story about the overthrows, the illegalities, all that kind of stuff? He said, what? He said, I never heard the story. He said, tell me the story. And so as I started relating to him the overthrow, the illegalities that had occurred. Now this is all in 1970, I graduated 76, 77. I'm up there talking to the reputed underworld leader of Hawaii on how he's going to defend himself against double murder, double kidnap. Hey, this guy had more courtroom experience than I had. And so I said, after telling him the story, I tell him, if you take that defense, they're going to hate your guts so much that if they get any opportunity to, they will throw you in jail for the rest of your life. And what he told me was very interesting. He said, I don't care. As long as I can inform one more Hawaiian, then let's do it.
There's honor everywhere. And I think we have to remember that there's honor everywhere. And we cannot discount people just because they don't necessarily practice or come from really honorable places. And I learned that from Tanai Roshi. We used to meet people who were on the other side of the law, and yet we're able to come together in that place and become one and figure out how are we going to collectively make Hawaii a better place to live. So, when I saw Tanoi's picture up there, I just missed him so much. He gave so much to us in how we managed to figure out how we settle things without relying on anger and meanness, but how we come from below the people.
Let me go back to the Napi Pulau. So in 1977, they called him, and at that time, Napi Pulau sold newspapers. Because people were wondering who this big crook, who was a Hawaiian, had organized the underworld. And why did he organize the underworld? He teamed up with the Samoan. He said, why should the Polynesians only be the muscles for the Japanese, Chinese, the foreigners who have come in here and make us become the muscle for them to protect the gambling? So he said, no, not supposed to happen, not in Hawaii. Very interesting Hawaiian principle. Makes sense. So they played him up as a big crook in Hawaii. I had to answer for him when the prosecutor said on certain day, a certain time, you did kidnap and murder these two people. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty? And I said, we refuse to dignify this court by entering a plea. We ask, who are you foreigners to come into Hawaii and charge us by your foreign laws? We're not Americans, we're Hawaiians. The introduction of the Hawaiian sovereignty movement within the court system, 1977, using the courts as a platform, as a theater for public education. We couldn't buy the media attention that we got by a criminal activity going on or by criminal charges. We sold a lot of papers. This was the longest trial in Hawaii's history at that time, 3 months. And we raised that issue at every opportunity we had. I was able to introduce the Cleveland Address to the US Congress. Judge Lanham was a judge. He stopped me, he said, Mr. Burgess, hold on. I see you reading from this old book. A lot of drama, right? I pulling apart the pages from the book, from the public records of the US Congress, in which Cleveland addresses both houses in 1893, in which he sets forth the details of the overthrow. Lanham stops me, he says, I have never heard this story before. This is the most fantastic story I have ever heard. And here I am, I'm a circuit court judge. I was previously a member of the state legislature. Before that, I was part of the territorial legislature. I married a Hawaiian woman, my children are part Hawaiian, and I have never heard this story before.
And he admitted that in court. That was a breakthrough.
So anyway, I don't mean to detail all of the events that occurred in that courtroom. But the important thing I want to get across to you is that there are certain steps in education, in educating people. And this I tell to my fellow Tai Chi practitioners and to folks at Halinao Pono and other places. 5 stages. First stage is attention. You got to get attention. Napi Pulau, we got his attention. The papers were giving us his attention, or attention for this cause. Second is a stage of confusion. People ask, what the hell going on? I don't understand. You know, all he's trying to do is get away from getting nailed for his criminal activity, and now you're bringing up this other stuff. So you have confusion, and along with confusion comes anger. But you got attention, you got confusion. And as you continue repeating it, then you have familiarity. So that when I'm asked to come down to Sand Island to explain to them what Cleveland said and how they're going to be able to defend themselves when they come in to kick them out. You know, they were called the beach people, not homeless at that time. They were the beach people, yeah? And so the movement began there with the beach people, and then Makua, and then all these other places, in kicking the Hawaiians off of the only places that they had to live at that time. So out of attention comes confusion, and from confusion becomes familiarity. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember about something about Cleveland, and yeah, my kupuna would talk about these kinds of stuff. So you get familiarity, and out of familiarity comes the next stage, discernment. Then you start looking more deeper into it. Like I was talking with Brother Kauai about citizenship, and looking deeper into what was the meaning of citizenship during that period of time that we were an independent nation, and today what should it mean? So you get the discernment, and then you have practice. Practice. As I tell my fellow practitioners in Tai Chi, practice makes what? Practice makes what?
Imperfect.
Practice makes less imperfect. Okay? Never think you're perfect. Makes less imperfect. Those are stages that we all go through. And if you can hang on to that, anytime you have new ideas that needs to be introduced, remember, it's not going to be accepted immediately. And it becomes a long process and continually moving over and over and over again to greater stages of perfection. Pua is tapping me in the back, telling me, hurry up, sit down, because I'm getting tired standing up. But I want to make two last comments. One is a song, Hawaii Loa Kulikikako. I really appreciated both the style in which you sang it and the fact that you took the time to sing that particular song. Because, and some of you may remember the Hurricane Eva. What was that, 35 years ago? Poha, how old are you now? About 30 years? Poha was born in a hurricane, but out of that hurricane came our struggle for Makua and how they tried to kick people off of Makua. That song was our rallying song. Subsequent to that, I had sat with Pilahi Paki, who participated in using the Hawaiian words, and she says, when I use the word Hawaii Loa Kulikikako, when I talk about all Hawaii stand together, I'm not talking about all of us Hawaiians. I'm not talking about the Chinese, the Japanese, and everyone else. I'm talking about all Hawaii. Those people dead and alive. Those people into our future. All of the spiritual forces we have to pull together. Hawaii Loa Kulikikako. As I talked with Liko Martin, who is credited with creating the song, he says, as I was leaving from the helicopter on the island of Kaho'olawe, the song came to me in whole. It's not something he had to piece together. He said the song came to me in whole. And that was a song that we used as a rallying song that many years ago.
So we want to say thank you.
And I want to talk about the second point. Which is to again underline what Pua had mentioned, that the focus is on Pua and I today, but really the focus needs to be on the nest that we come from, the people who had supported us. Each one of you, every time we ask for help or we ask for advice or information and all that kind of stuff, to know that no matter where we may be advocating at, we have a home, we have a place to anchor our roots, and that is not only here in Waianae as a geographical place, but a commonality of consciousness that we all come from. We all come from the sense of appropriateness, of justice, of what is right, of what I call the first constitution of Hawaii, Pono. King Kamehameha's constitution, as he says. The things that I have started has not ended. E na e wale no o ko I ku pono a ole pao. I ku pono o Hawaii. E mau ke o ka aine ka pono. Pono, the first constitution. Don't tell me about the second constitution or this constitution, the constitution of 1859 or 1864, all that stuff. The very basis of Hawaii is pono. A constitution need not be a written document. When someone asks you, how is your constitution? Peheko piko. How is your essence? They're not asking you for your birth certificate. They're not asking you for your driver's license. How are you constituted? That has to be retained. That has to be remembered. That is our constitution that we all work for. How about you, Ponohi? Okay, that's the last thing. Boy, you can have the last word.
Well, this is a first.
Thank you.
I really appreciate each and every one of you. And thank you so much for your attention and your love and your cooperation. And please continue to answer the phone when we call. Mahalo, and thank you to the school and to Consuelo Fund and to Consuelo. Okay, aloha.
I'd like to offer two other gifts to you. One would be a special song presented by Star Kalahiki, and the second would be a special hula performed by Etilehua Matsumoto. So at this time, I'd like to invite Star Kalahiki to.
Aloha. My name is Star Kalahiki, and my heart is so filled with learning your story today. Kiai has shared a little bit with me about you, but to experience this, experience you, experience all of you, I am so honored to be sharing in this time and space with you, and blessed to offer my small part here by sharing song composed by Lili'o Kalani in 1895, a song that really, I am an entertainer, but this song really, it functions. And I am so grateful for the work that you've done that I haven't even been aware of until now. To know that clearly what you have done has allowed me to be here and share now. I admire those who can come and step on a microphone and speak important things that need to be said. And I'm a singer, so I am going to share this song. O ko aloha no aia I kalani a o ko oia I o he molele ho'i ko no miana apa ia o e ku'ulama ko nani ko'u ko'o mai nana ino ino na hewa o kanaka a ka e hui kala ama e no no leila e kaku
puana ku'upua hone I kalai He nani maoli no I can listen.
May next thing you're allowed to take the centerpieces. As long as you don't take the tablecloths. The tablecloths are not part of the centerpieces.
My life has taken to find